Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, make sure to subscribe for more K-pop audition tips and information like this. And in today's video, I have part 2 of answering to your K-pop audition rumors. So part 1 is already uploaded, I'll leave a link for it in the description box, and part 3, which is the last part, will be coming out on Thursday, like always. So be excited for that. I have more rumors here with me today, so let's get started with the first one, which is your personal income online, such as YouTube, will be split between you and the company. So this depends on kind of what stage you're at in your K-pop idol career. So say you're more of like a rookie that just debuted, then more of your income is gonna go to the company because they helped you more about establishing, say, like a YouTube channel. Whereas if you're more of like a senior, I guess, in the K-pop industry, you would earn more. And it also depends on how much effort you put in personally, and say you brought all of the cameras yourself, all of the backgrounds are yours and not really at the company, and you really use nothing from the company, then yeah, most of the income would go to you. But then let's say you needed permission from the company to make a YouTube channel, which yes you will, then yeah, it will be split on a general level because you're still under that company. And the next rumor is, do trainees undergo skin whitening treatments? So I don't want to assume for every K-pop idol obviously, but it's quite obvious when you look at past pictures compared to now pictures that they have had some sort of skin whitening kind of treatment. And this is not just because the past photos have bad lighting, but you can just kind of tell, like how obviously nowadays pictures are going to be with bright lighting and with like professional cameras, but still you can see that difference between skin tones. And I'm not going to mention the artist's name because obviously people are going to be like, no, she's never had that, or he's never had that. So no, don't ask me about that. But definitely there are some companies that might like suggest that. They'll never force it, okay, it's illegal, they'll never force it, but they could suggest like a skin whitening treatment, and if you agree to it, then you could get it. And the next rumor is, once you become a trainee, you can't talk to your family even over the phone. So this is honestly depending on what company you join, but on a general level, no, you will not have time to call them like every day. However, some trainees do call them every day. They won't be able to meet often, obviously, because you are busy with training, but you can call your parents maybe at like night when you're done with practicing, when the company can give you your phone. Some companies just don't allow phones at all, whereas some companies allow them only at like night or on specific days like Sundays. So it really depends on the companies. There is no one right answer. So the next rumor is, SM does not accept foreigners at their trainees, and even if they accept them, it's difficult to make it in the debut lineup. So this is not true at all. There are some foreign trainees, and also whether you make it into the debut lineup or not as a trainee, that's up to your potential and your skills. So if you aren't improving at all and you're just kind of remaining constant like that, whereas our other trainees are improving as they receive lessons, as they train, then obviously they will choose the ones that go up like that. So that really has nothing to do with nationality. Say if they didn't want a specific nationality to join their company, they wouldn't accept them in the first place. And the next rumor is, I heard that P Nation is preparing for a girl group with non-Korean members. This could definitely be a case. So there are so many rumors about companies debuting groups with non-Korean members, and you know, non-Korean members are quite common. You have to understand that Chinese, Japanese, Thailand, like all of those people are still non-Korean members. So that is definitely a possibility, but nothing's confirmed yet, so I wouldn't be too hyped up for that, I guess, yet. And the next rumor is, there are so scams in K-pop industry. I talked about this in part 1. There are scams in any industry. So obviously there's going to be those sketchy companies, which I do have a video about right there. It's about more so like K-pop, not K-pop companies, but more so academies. There are a lot of scams in that. So you just kind of have to be noticeable of that and don't audition for sketchy companies that seem really off to you. I just recommend going with the companies that I actually have audition tutorials for, because those aren't going to be scams. Those are more so popular companies or established, well-known companies. And the next rumor is, I've heard that the companies will watch your audition video only if they see your pictures first and like your looks. And if they don't like the way you look, they won't look at your videos at all. So if the company does this, they definitely could, because of the time constraint, or maybe there's just one too many audition applicants. This is honestly still plausible, because maybe they're looking for a specific look or a specific style, and if the pictures don't really confirm that, then they might not watch the video, and that's totally, you know, their choice, the company's choice. You aren't going to be like, oh, this is a scam audition because they didn't actually look at your video. No, they could just choose not to do that because they simply don't have time or anything like that. The next rumor is it true that companies prefer certain nationalities more other than Korean, like Chinese, Japanese, but India and other Asian and non-Asian countries are in the group of least preferred, and they're not looking for it. If they get auditions from these companies, they won't be interested and won't consider you for a review. So this is pretty obvious. Obviously, East Asians look more Korean than other Asians. And so they're obviously looking for more Koreans in K-pop groups rather than other nationalities. I do have a video on this right here. I explain more in depth about that. But yeah, obviously there's more nationalities that they look for, like Chinese and Japanese. And obviously this depends on your talent as well. But if they're not really the image that they're looking for, then you're not really going to pass that specific companies. And the image that they're looking for isn't like 100% confirmed by the company either. But it's not like racism, you know? You have to understand that this is also K-pop, Korean pop. If this was like just pop with no Korean at the top, then yeah, that would be racist. But they're looking for people that are more Korean looking, that are Korean, and fit into the Korean beauty standards, things like that. So watch that video, please, for more understandings about that. And the next rumor is if we debut from a small company or from a survival show program, the group won't be successful or may disband soon for lack of popularity or vote rigging scandals about the survival show. So a lot of people think survival shows, then they think of Produce 101, which it was a rig except for season 1 and a part of season 2, so it was a rig. And small companies, then they won't be successful. Obviously, success isn't guaranteed under any company. Groups are still popular from small companies. So it's not like if you're from a small company, you'll be unsuccessful, or if you're from a big company, you'll be successful. It's not like that black and white. You guys have to kind of exit that mindset that a lot of people have, like, oh, it's all black and white. If you're not Asian, then you won't pass. If you are Asian, then you'll pass. You know, something like that. That's not always the case, and there are so many outliers that people need to recognize. And we have a similar rumor here, which is even if a foreigner is super talented, companies won't accept a non-Korean, Indian, unless they look for Korean or they have East Asian facial features and fit Korean beauty standards. So obviously, like I said, companies do prefer people that look Korean and fit the Korean beauty standards. And that's kind of the 3 things that they're looking for: talent, looking Korean, and fitting the Korean beauty standards. Again, that video really does explain more about that, so I really recommend that you watch it. The next one is what happens if a trainee couldn't pay his debt? Can he pay his debt when he gets a job or something in the future? So it'll say in the contract specifically, which contracts are all different depending on the person, depending on the company. But if you generally don't pay off your debt until like the rest of your life, that's illegal, obviously. And there's probably interest that comes with it. So if it takes you longer to pay back your debt, then interest is going to increase. It really depends on the contract that you sign. And some people were like, okay, then can you tell us what's in the contract? I can't. It's way too big of a spectrum. There's so many different contracts, so many different people. Also, if there are people on the internet that are like, oh, this is what a K-pop contract looks like, they're probably lying or doing something illegal, because it is illegal to publicly share your own contract or someone else's contract, most especially. So yeah, keep that in mind. The next one is, does JYP really don't let his groups do their own concepts, or is he forcing them to use his concepts? So you have to realize JYP, well, firstly, if you mean JYP like the person himself, he's not in charge of that. Then that would be the director of whatever group you're looking at. If you're looking at the company, yeah, they're obviously going to choose concept for you. I don't know what people have this misconception, but they think like, oh, I get to choose everything. I get to choose my group name, the members I want to be with, the songs. No, that's not the case at all. You cannot choose things, you know, you're just an artist. That's not part of your role. If you wanted to choose the clothes you wear, then you would be a stylist. If you wanted to choose the makeup you do, then you would be a makeup artist. So yeah, you don't get to choose what kind of concept you like. And if you feel really, really uncomfortable with it, maybe they might change it, depending on, maybe if you're like a rookie, then you definitely do not have a say in it. But maybe if you're more of an established artist, they might let you choose your own concept, maybe like the music video style you want it to be, things like that. However, generally, no, you do not get to choose your own concept. The next one is, if you pass the first round online audition, it means that they've approved your visuals, ethnicity, and age. Second round is more about your talent. Nope. So the first round is like a basic overview of your talents and everything else. So your visuals, your ethnicity, everything. And second round is to kind of reconfirm that. So more information they want to know about you, more details, I guess. So let's say in the first round you didn't dance, then they'll probably ask you for dancing. And the final round is when they get everyone to kind of look at your thing. So everyone in the company, including like maybe the CEO, if they really are interested in you, and other members of the staff, they could ask for input on that. And the next rumor is, I've heard that when auditioning, you can't talk about a celebrity in the company that inspired you or the reason you auditioned because they might think you're only there for them. That's definitely a possibility because companies don't want you talking about your favorite artists like immediately, I guess. Maybe when you debuted and stuff, yeah, then you have more of a flexibility. But when you're auditioning, that's not really what they want you to say. You should more so be like, oh, I have passion in dancing, rather than I have passion in BTS, you know? Like, there's a difference between those two. And yes, they could potentially think that you're only there to see your idols. That's not the image you want to give, which is why a lot of people say when you're filming your audition video, don't let like your posters in the background show, kind of like this. This is like a bad example of what you should do in an audition video, but obviously right now I'm not filming an audition video, so it doesn't matter. So the next one is, I've heard that K-pop idols just show they're single but secretly date someone. Yeah, this is definitely possible. I don't know why. Actually, this isn't even K-pop audition. I should have deleted that. Definitely, they hide things from the public. That's pretty obvious. They have a private life too. Next, some companies let their idols date. Yeah, some companies are open to that, especially if you're more of an established artist that are into more of their senior days than their rookie days, then the company could allow that. Or some companies could be like, yeah, you can date, but try to hide it as much as possible so that no one knows, not even this patch. Or some companies are just like, no, don't date. So there's like a spectrum, wide spectrum, honestly. And if you're more of a bigger artist, then you would have less flexibility with that because you have more of the public's eye, I guess. The next rumor is, if you're scouted, then you don't have to audition. So I really want to make a scouting video because I actually have a story time that I want to share. Can you guess it? Probably. Well, anyway, I want to make a scouting video, but a thing that people confuse about scouting is that there's two differences. So one is like, hey, we want you to audition for this company. Let's say SM because I'm wearing pink. So SM could walk up to you, like a staff could walk up to you on the streets and be like, hey, we want you to audition for SM. But they could also be like, hey, why don't you join our company? Most likely it'll be like, we want you to audition, and then you will go through the same process. But maybe in some lucky circumstances, they could be like, wow, I'm literally falling in love with you first sight. Let's just get you to join immediately. Obviously, that's a little bit unrealistic, but it could definitely happen. But it's going to be more of like, yeah, you do audition, or maybe you'll skip a few steps because they already like you and your vibe and your visuals. The next one is it true that if you're perfect at some talents, like singing, dancing, rapping, or all of them, you still have to wait for a few years to debut? Yeah, your amount of skills doesn't necessarily equate to the years of training you do. So if you're better than someone, you could still like train for more years and more decades almost. So that's definitely a possibility. It doesn't always equate to that. It's more like luck when you join the company, when the company decides to debut, what the company looks for. So you could still have perfect talent, but you don't really fit the concept that they're going for. So there are some unfortunate cases like this. Depends on your luck, so there's nothing really you can specifically control. So the next one is, can I be a K-pop idol if I don't like to wear revealing clothes, like showing my legs and stuff like that? The company will force me to wear that. So on a general level, you don't really get to choose what you wear. However, if you feel super uncomfortable with what you wear, then you could ask the stylist, be like, hey, could I like change my clothing into something? But usually, like a lot of the times, they don't have like a backup outfit. And so that kind of gets into complications. And as an idol, you don't really choose what you wear. That's the stylist's job, and it's more like, oh, they know what's best for you. That's the company's perspective. And a lot of the times, companies don't really have a say in what the stylists choose either. They're more like confirm or not confirm. So the next rumor we have is, I've seen an audition related video by a former trainee who claimed if you speak English, it's definitely a plus point because K-pop is going more international and they want at least one member in the group who's able to speak English. Hope you're having a nice day. You too. Yeah, it could definitely be a plus point, but if it's like you only speak English, that could definitely be a disadvantage compared to someone who speaks both English and Korean. So you kind of have to consider that. Obviously, the more things you can do, it's a benefit. That's obviously like beneficial. So if you know how to do a weird talent that isn't really related to K-pop auditions, not really beneficial, but yeah, it's definitely an advantage. The next one is trainees get an allowance. Big Four gives up to $500. So I don't know where you guys are hearing these things. $500, really? Companies don't give that off to random trainees. No, so yeah, they could have an allowance, but it's really something small, like $5 to $10 a week. Not minimum wage at all, just literally an allowance, as it says. So usually smaller companies wouldn't have this, whereas bigger companies might have this just for things like snacks and food that are healthy, obviously. So they could have that, but also some companies don't really have that because they don't find it to be necessary, which is also pretty acceptable. The next one is parents have to sign the contract for you to train in Korea, even if you are 16, like so until you're 18. Yeah, they still have to sign it because you're a minor, and minors need your guardians to sign the contract. And there's nothing much to say about that. You just have to get them to sign it. So the next one is the group can decide mutually what their last music video would be before disbanding. No, that's not really like a set rule. It's very specific to, yeah, obviously the companies might be like, oh guys, this time we're letting you choose, but that's very unlikely because companies do what they want to do, not what the artists want to do. Artists are only the image. There's so many people that are working behind the scenes that you guys don't get to see. I feel like people need to realize that too, because they just see the artists, so it's like, oh, the artist must choose everything that they do and decide everything that they say and all of that. That's not the case. There are a lot of people working backstage. So the next one is, I've heard that you have a chance of being kicked out of the company at any given time, but others say it's only if they don't offer to renew your contract. You could get kicked out at any moment, at any time. Even if you did nothing wrong, you could still be kicked out for no reason. So that's that. It's still in the contract too. Like, you could be kicked out at any moment. That's still kind of included in that. So the next one is, I'm not sure if it's a rumor, but a lot of people say that if you use a pop song when you do an audition, you have more chances to pass. Watch this video for choosing a song for singing and dancing, because it really clears up on that. So that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe for more Kpop audition tips and information like this. Make sure to comment down this emoji if you made it until here. Hopefully it'll be pink because pink. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye!